Firearms Positive People started in '94, and in 1997 they decided to reach out to high school students. Most of them had high school students at home, and they thought this was something that they needed to share with those high school students. And what they wanted to do was reward these students for overcoming a major obstacle in their life, turning a negative into a positive, and overcoming some adversity in their life. So that year they had their first banquet. Since that banquet, they've honored over 200 students, and they've given well over 50 scholarships. I'd like to take the time to introduce our board members to you because I think they deserve to be recognized, because if it weren't for them and them being the positive people that they are, we wouldn't be here either. So I'm the president of Sandusky County Positive People. And then we have our vice president is Elaine Blackmore with Chrome Colonial Bank. Now, if you've noticed something, this is the second time Elaine has stood up. She stood up for Firearms Positive People, and she stood up for Sandusky County Positive People. You would think that somebody couldn't have that much positive stuff. She has been a godsend because she has kept us from reinventing the wheel. These fine people were tickled to death that we were getting this started over here. They shared everything with us. So we didn't have to start all over. We didn't have to reinvent the wheel. And Elaine was our liaison, so thank you, Elaine, for doing that for us. We have our treasurers, Jeff Gary from Chrome Colonial Bank. Secretary is Peggy Rodriguez from Fremont Federal. We have Becky Schaefer from First Financial Bank in Clyde. Gary Pollack from Chrome Colonial Bank. Gary's the man behind the scenes for all of this. Let's give him another round. Kay Ryder, the president of Sandusky County Economic Development Corp. She's behind all this stuff and all the pretty stuff. Marcia Borger, the president of Terra State Community College. And last but not least, Christine Snyder-Smith, owner of Cass Enterprises, and will be our master of ceremonies today. More history. I attended my first banquet in 2005, and I was just completely blown away. I couldn't believe the stories that these students shared with us. I couldn't believe the obstacles that these students had overcome, and I couldn't believe that they had the courage to share their stories with the rest of our group. The next year, I decided I was going to take my teenage daughter. If you've had teenagers, you know that sometimes they think their lives are miserable and things aren't going their way, so I thought, well, I'm going to bring her to this so she can see what other people go through. We cried together at the banquet. It was unbelievable. On the way home, my daughter said, Dad, choked up here. She said, Dad, we need to start this in Sandusky County. Excuse me, you need to start this. And I said, oh man, there's so much going. I don't know if I can do this. I'll give it some thought. So the next year, I took my teenage son Alex with me, and same thing happened. Blown away, cried together, and on the way home, he said the same exact thing. I don't know about you guys, but when you have two teenagers tell you that you need to do something, you better listen to them. Our vision, Sandusky County Positive People as a regional group of professionals, is for individuals who wish to continuously move forward the quality of life of the region we serve. We wish to recognize our youth in our community who have overcome adversity in their lives for the betterment of self. Our mission statement is to encourage leaders and youth of our area to seek continuous positive improvement and self in the community. In January, we got the applications out to the schools. And the guidance counselors to this whole process are key, and that's one of the reasons why I had them stand up first. The guidance counselors are the ones that know the students, they know who fits into this program, and then they also, and to steal from Bob, they kind of annoy these students or give them a little nudge and say, hey, You ought to sign up for this. This is a good program. So guidance counselors, thank you. Couldn't do it without you. We got the application back in late March, and out of the 4 schools, we had 22 students apply. We were astonished that this happened our first year. Of course, we're a bunch of softies too. We narrowed it down to 9 people that we were going to interview. And I talked to the students this morning, they said, God, the interviews were terrible. So I told them, this is a piece of cake. The interviews are easy. Today's going to be a piece of cake. So to give you an idea, then what we did is we had a scoring system. They had to fill out an application, they had to write an essay, tell us their story, and we graded them on that, gave them points, and then we also gave them points for what they did and how they did on the interview. And then we ranked the 4 finalists to come up with our 4 finalists. And it was amazing when we got down to ranking the top 4 people, with the numbering system we had, everybody had the same rank. It was unbelievable. By doing the number system, didn't have the names, everything fell into place.
Sierra Parker will graduate from Fremont Ross High School. She has served in Make a Difference Club, Black History Club, as a mentor and a member of the Strive program. She's been on the honor roll her freshman and senior years, and Sierra has volunteered at Otis Elementary, the Liberty Center, and she works part-time at Bethesda Care Center. Sierra will begin her degree in social work and sociology at Terra State Community College. She plans to make a difference in the world as long as she lives. Sierra is the daughter of Christina Beto. I was never your normal kid. I was afraid of everything. I was sad. I was lost. Depression has always been my best friend and my worst enemy. About the age of 7, my family and I became homeless. My mother had hurt her back, which made her lose her job, which made us lose our home. We went to friends' houses and homeless shelters. My brother and I saw so many different things during that time that kids our age had never heard about. We never had a father in our life. And looking back at my childhood, I never knew what happiness was. I never knew who I was. As I started to grow up more, I never felt complete. Going into the 11th grade, my self-esteem dropped to its lowest point. All I heard in my head was the repeated insults that people had said to me throughout the years, and I could not ignore that voice. I thought maybe if I lost some weight, I'd be happy. I started to experiment with diet pills. I was embarrassed when my mother found out, so I turned my anger out on her. Everything I hated about myself was her fault. I felt like I was a disgrace to such a wonderful mother. I dropped my friends who loved me, and I started to hang out with somebody who is a lost soul. We get ourselves into dangerous situations, and I lost all respect for myself. Every time I would look in the mirror, all I saw was a fat, worthless nobody. I let my weight be my escape, and I became bulimic. I started to hurt myself almost every night before bed. It was like a punishment for the food I'd eaten that day, or the arguments I'd gotten into with my mom, or my grades that were slipping, as well as my attendance. I was planning suicide. When I told my mother about everything, after our talk, I realized that I had so many people cheering me on. Ones who didn't matter, just didn't. I have a huge heart, and from that night until this very moment, all I want to do is give back, to help others in need, and hopefully one day to get my story out, so that others just like me will understand that no matter what your story is, it's important. To be honest, I'm excited to see what I'm going to be in the future, because with my faith in God, He's going to take me on a path with a few bumpy roads, but it's okay, because I'm stronger now, and I know I can get through anything. From Fremont Ross High School, our first place recipient of a $3,000 scholarship is Sierra Parker. called the Positive Impact Award. This award is given to an individual who's had a tremendous influence on one of our finalists. Allow me to read from Sierra's application so that you can understand what Paul Harvey might say. Here's the rest of the story. Toward the end of the year, my English teacher had us bring in a song, just as Sierra told you. Favorite that describes us in a sense. My song was about showing the beauty that you have inside rather than the beauty you have outside. I wanted to live those lyrics. After I played that song and got my grade, she asked me to stop by after school. She told me how I never gave myself enough credit, how I was beautiful on the inside and out. All I could do was stand there in shock. How did this stranger read me like an open book without reading the introduction paragraph first? One statement she said was that God put someone in your life at the right time for a reason. What she didn't know, and no one else knew, was that I was planning out my suicide attempt for that weekend. Her words changed the part of my life and shaped me into the person I am today. That teacher, who had such a positive impact on Sierra, is Mrs. Heidi Gallagher.
Something today, we messed up. That's on the table. Oh, unbelievable. Ladies, you're remarkable. You're remarkable. Thank you for taking the time to share your stories with us. Well, if we don't walk out of here today with anything else, you never know what you say or what you do is going to impact somebody else. Great example of how that takes place. Teachers, guidance counselors, I'm sure you have those days where you wonder, man, why am I doing this? That's why you're doing this. I'd like to take a second and have you look at the back of your program. Back of your program are all the sponsors for today. These people really stepped it up and came through financially, donations in kind, services, all kinds of things you can't imagine. When we started out, we set a goal to raise $50,000 so we could be self-sufficient, not have to continually come back and ask people for money. We're not there yet. We're close. But these people, it's unbelievable when you ask people. We didn't even have, this is our first banquet, people, we didn't even have a product to show them other than what Finalist Positive people have done. So thank you to all these people that donated and helped us get to where we're at today. So I'd like to have a round of applause for that. Sponsors, thank you for having faith in us. Thank you for having faith in this program. And thank you for doing what you can do, what you did. Wow. Unbelievable, people. Thank you very, very much. I can't begin to tell you how humbling of an experience this is. We had no idea that you people would get behind this program as much as you did. Strangers have become friends. They knew very little about us, about our organization, and look what they did. Unbelievable. Continues to blow me away. Well, what a morning, huh? Wasn't this great? I graciously accept those applause, but this isn't about us. This is about these students. And let's have another round of applause for them. this on a positive note, so I have a couple of things that I'd like to read it to you. It takes one positive thought, when given the chance to survive and thrive, to overpower an entire army of negative thoughts. Isn't that cool? Thanks, Joe, for sending that. Then we also did some advertising on the radio, and we had a tagline that one of our board members came up with, and I just love this. Sandusky County positive people, changing lives, one student at a time. I hope that's what we did today. I hope we confirm to these students that they're doing the right thing, they're going the right direction. No matter what you've gone through in life, you can turn that around and make it into a positive. Thank you. Go out and make it a positive day.
May the good Lord be with you down every road you roam. And may sunshine and happiness surround you when you're far from home. And may you grow to be proud, dignified and true. And do unto others as you'd have done to you. Be courageous and be brave, and in my heart you'll always stay forever young, forever young. May good fortune be with you.